The knife was in the wrong hand. That single observation, made by a responding officer at a crime scene in American Fork, Utah, would unravel what investigators later described as a calculated conspiracy involving multiple family members. Matthew Restelli was left-handed. The knife found in his hand was in his right hand. During the autopsy, examiners discovered a wound on his right wrist, the same hand holding the blade. The placement did not match what would be expected in a struggle. It appeared the knife had been placed there after the event. What followed was an investigation that would reveal digital tracking, recorded conversations, and a family conspiracy that spanned from California to Utah. This is the case of Matthew Restelli. Matthew Restelli was 34 years old. He lived in California with his wife, Catherine Restelli, and their 2 young children. The marriage was experiencing difficulties. In June of 2024, Catherine Restelli made a decision. She left their rural Aguanga, California, property with the children and drove to her mother's home in American Fork, Utah, approximately 30 miles south of Salt Lake City. She told Matthew she was visiting family. Before leaving California, Catherine Restelli placed an Apple AirTag tracking device in Matthew's truck. The device was hidden in a compartment between the driver's and passenger's seats. She shared access to this tracker with her mother, Tracy Grist, her sister, Terrellyn Fisher, and her brother, Kevin Ellis. Text messages recovered during the investigation showed family members commenting on Matthew's movements in the weeks that followed. On July 11, 2024, Catherine Restelli consulted with a divorce attorney in California. She learned that Matthew could potentially file paperwork to force the children back to California because she had not established Utah residency. She recorded this consultation and shared the recording with her mother. Following this consultation, Catherine Restelli and her mother orchestrated what investigators described as a ruse. Matthew deposited money for Catherine to rent a car and drive home. Her mother suggested via text message that Catherine claim a sprained ankle to delay the trip. Catherine went to an enterprise rental location in American Fork. She knew she would be turned away because she had only an out-of-state license and a debit card. After multiple phone calls throughout the day, Matthew made a decision. He would drive to Utah himself to bring his family home. Catherine recorded those conversations on her iPad. During his drive, Catherine Restelli spoke with her husband several times. She kept him calm. She told him the door was unlocked and that he should just come through the front door when he arrived. She had no intention of returning to California with him. At the Grist home, preparations were made. Toys were removed from their normal location in the front room and moved to a home office. Inexpensive blankets were placed on the living room couch. The magnetic screen door was taken off to make entry easier. According to Catherine Restelli's later testimony, her understanding was that Matthew would be shot and that either her mother or her brother would do it. 3 to 4 days before the killing, her mother showed her a knife wrapped in a glove that was kept in a laundry room. On July 12, 2024, Matthew Restelli arrived at the Grist residence in American Fork. He entered through the front door. According to prosecutors, Kevin Ellis fired multiple shots. Matthew Restelli was killed. Kevin Ellis later claimed he had acted in self-defense. He stated that Matthew had entered the residence agitated and was armed with a knife. A knife was found in Matthew's hand, but there were problems with this account. Matthew Restelli was left-handed. The knife was in his right hand. During the autopsy, examiners found a wound on his right wrist, the same hand holding the knife. American Fork police officer Joseph Norden later testified. Matthew Restelli is left-handed, and he's holding the knife in his right hand. Along with that, during the autopsy, a bullet wound was found in his right wrist, the same hand he's holding the knife with. The placement did not appear consistent with someone holding a weapon during a confrontation. It appeared the knife had been placed there after the event. At approximately 10:05 p.m. on July 12th, residents near the Grist home called 911 and reported hearing multiple gunshots. A neighbor had already notified police. Minutes later, Tracy Grist called 911 from inside the house. The delay raised questions for investigators. Law enforcement later alleged that Ellis and Grist had delayed calling 911 so they could set up the crime scene. When officers arrived, they found Matthew Restelli deceased. The cause of death was determined to be multiple gunshot wounds. The investigation began immediately. Officers seized the phones of Catherine Restelli, Tracy Grist, and Kevin Ellis. Detectives found that the family members had been tracking Matthew as he made his way to Utah via the AirTag that Catherine had placed in his truck. The digital evidence would become central to the case. In July of 2025, Catherine Restelli entered a guilty plea. She was 37 years old. She pleaded guilty to a reduced count of murder and conspiracy to commit murder, both second-degree felonies, and felony discharge of a firearm, a first-degree felony. In exchange for her plea, prosecutors dismissed 2 counts of domestic violence in the presence of a child and obstruction of justice. Catherine Restelli admitted in her plea statement that she had lured Matthew to Utah. She led him to believe she wanted to reconcile. She kept him calm during his drive. She told him the door was unlocked and he should come in. She admitted that the plot was designed to allow her family members to surprise Matthew and claim that he entered the house without permission, supporting their initial self-defense claim. She admitted that her mother had brought up on more than one occasion that she or Kevin Ellis would kill Matthew. She admitted they planned to use a gun and place a knife in his hand to support a claim of self-defense. She admitted placing the AirTag tracking device in his truck. She admitted discussing a plan with her mother to stay in touch with Matthew as he drove, to reassure him and keep him calm. On September 9, 2025, 4th District Judge Roger Griffin sentenced Catherine Restelli. She received a sentence of 1 to 15 years for the murder charge and 1 to 15 years for the conspiracy charge. She received a sentence of 5 years to life for the felony discharge of a firearm. The sentences for murder and discharge were ordered to run consecutively. Judge Griffin also ordered Catherine Restelli to have no contact with her children. "Your children are victims of your actions," the judge said. "They'll be lifetime victims of your actions, and they deserve to grow up without you in your life in their lives." The judge noted that hours after Matthew was killed, Catherine was preparing for a date and showing friends the scene of the crime. When she received condolences, she said, "It's okay, I'm happy." Catherine Restelli addressed the court before sentencing. "He didn't deserve it. If I had the power to bring him back, I would. I know that my actions directly caused Matt's death." Kevin Ellis stood trial for Matthew's killing. He was convicted and found guilty of murder, obstruction of justice, and domestic violence in the presence of children. He was sentenced to 15 years to life in prison. Tracy Grist, the mother of Catherine Restelli and Kevin Ellis, was also charged. She was convicted on charges of murder, criminal conspiracy, obstruction of justice, and domestic violence in the presence of a child. The judge described her as the mastermind of the plot. She was sentenced to the maximum penalty. Matthew Restelli's mother, Diane Restelli, addressed the court during Catherine's sentencing. She said her son was concerned after his wife took the children and family truck to Utah. Matthew had agreed to drive from California to American Fork because Catherine told him she could not rent a vehicle to come back. Despite promising Matthew that the family would drive back together, Catherine had not packed anything for the supposed trip. In Catherine Restelli's own words during her testimony against her brother, she had conspired with her mother and brother to murder her husband, luring him to Utah under false pretenses before he was shot. The AirTag data provided a continuous location history. The text messages documented the evolution of the plot from discussion to execution. The knife placement in the wrong hand contradicted the self-defense claim. The forensic evidence, combined with the digital trail and witness testimony, established the conspiracy that led to Matthew Restelli's death. Thank you for watching Psych File. If you found this documentary informative, please like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel for more true crime investigations. We'll see you in the next episode.